Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls of all ages, welcome to the Saturday edition of the Paranormal Portal. I'm your host, Brent Thomas, and I'm thrilled you're here with me. Thank you so much for joining into the fray and the fun and everything that's bound to follow. Sometimes it'll be a fray and sometimes it'll be fun. Hopefully it's always fun here. We of course, try to have a good time with the subject matter because the paranormal's already dark. It's already heavy. It's already brooding and spooky and stuff. So I like to have fun with it as much as we can, even though sometimes it's certainly not funny. In those places, we are tasteful about it. But anyway, I'm not here alone, ladies and gentlemen. I have my good friend and co-host with me here, and that is our own Don Longbeard. Don, you're on.
Oh, hi, everyone.
There you go. Yeah, I guess he needed an applause.
Oh, yay.
There you go. That make you feel more welcome?
Yeah. I feel like, presidential or something.
Yeah, we don't really have a live studio audience, so
We do what
we do the best with what we got, folks. But welcome to the show. And Don, how you been doing?
I've been good. I woke up not hurting the other night. That was pretty nice.
Wow. Yeah, well.
Well, I swear, like I told you earlier, when I fell off the roof, I think I had like full body whiplash.
Yeah, I'm pretty
sure. It
sure.
took like 2 weeks to.
How much of a fall? How are we talking?
It was literally only like 8 feet.
Well, that's a lot of feet when you're, our age. It gets exponentially taller.
When you're fat and old, you don't bounce anymore. You just splat.
We just kind of spread out on impact. We can't really absorb it like we used to. We just kind of flatten out like a big cookie and then rebound, and all kinds of stuff gets wrecked.
What the hell was that? Oh, it's Don falling off the roof.
Was that a tremor? No, Don fell off the
roof. Which just shot, pictures of what's his name? Footloose. Kevin Bacon through my head. Yeah. He was like, it's an ass blaster. Sorry.
A graboid.
I couldn't help it.
It's all right. There's no reason to help it, Don. You're in good company, and there's plenty of room for stupid here on the show, obviously.
Jessica says more cushion, Don. Yeah.
Yeah, that's it.
Cushion splats.
We try to absorb those impacts like we once did, but
and then you just jump up like nothing happened,
right?
Yeah.
Well, it's like they say, Don. The mind is willing, but the body, on the other hand, it's the body that always catches us up.
It's taken.
Yeah.
Wow. So anyhow, but yeah, no, I'm much better. Thank you.
Well, good, and glad to have you here, of course, in the co-pilot seat. It's just nice to have someone to talk to. But, of course, ladies and gentlemen, if you want to be a part of someone to talk to, you could do that if you have something paranormal or paranormal-related you'd like to talk about. And hopefully it has something to do with what we're talking about. But feel free to call in at 720-923-0500. 720-923-0500. I knew you couldn't do it that way. I knew it. Couldn't keep up.
723-923-0500.
70, screwing it up.
That's 720-923.
That's right. 720-923-0500. That's the numbers for fun.
I have to look at my screen to see it.
Yeah.
It's right there.
Absolutely.
It's right there on your screen, Don. Anyhow.
Dennis Conroy saying shirt. What is shirt?
I do.
I don't know what you're saying, Dennis. I see you said shirt. I don't know if you're just warming up the keyboard for later. Was there something going on there?
Strip poker?
No. We'd have to change the rating of our show to obscene.
Oh my God, I'm blind.
NC-17.
Where's the mental floss?
Well, there you go. Haunted hoodies. I like that, Julia. Good. Nice job.
Yeah.
Julia's pimping the cash there. That's pretty good. Cash as in CACHE.
You look different without a black shirt.
Who, me?
Yeah, apparently.
Oh.
I
do have more than one color. I usually stick with earth tones, but I just thought I'd go with the blue.
Blue is sky.
That's what I heard. Yeah. That's why I was saying it's different. I usually go with it. But by the way, Titan wants like a bushwhacker kind of hat with Paranormal Portal on it.
Bushwhacker hat? What the hell's a bushwhacker?
Oh, God, I got to show you.
Like a boonie?
No, it's like a brush. I don't know. What the hell did you call it, Titan, last night? He texted me. Let me just get the text. All right. He texted me a picture of it so I can show you. A Bonnie hat or Boonie hat? Yeah,
a boonie.
Like this.
Yeah, a boonie.
He wants one with the portal on there.
I want one with the portal on there.
Okay, well, you're the gear guy, so
that ain't
that's why I'm bringing it to your attention. Okay, so
because the boonies would look good for like when we go out to Coloma.
Well, yeah, or
portal with the boonie on.
Absolutely, or over in Medellin Falls, ladies and gentlemen, on June 19th and 20th in Medellin Falls, Washington. There will be a Bigfoot
town hall
convention, basically. Yeah, it's a small town, but it's where a lot of activity is happening right up there in the Pend Oreille County, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, up by the Colville Native Reservation and stuff, and there's lots of activity going on there and lots of ongoing research. But they're going to have a Bigfoot conference on June 19th and 20th, and it's always going to be great because, of course, that's put on by Stephen Major and the Extreme Expedition Northwest LLC, which is his group, and they've done documentaries on their research. Yeah, the Hairy Man of Port Chatham is their documentary, and you can check that out on Amazon. It's out there, but there will be a Bigfoot conference, and just
keep going. I'm sorry.
Showcasing the headliner for this conference is none other than Bob Gimlin.
Bob Gimlin!
Ladies and gentlemen, Bob Gimlin will be there. And
small town Washington.
Yeah, it's going to be, I think they're going to flood it.
Yeah.
And we're supposed to be there as well. I don't know, I haven't firmed up any of the details yet, but.
Apparently the hotel we stayed in last year, the whole floor is already gone.
Already gone? Yeah.
Well, no more in that hotel.
Right. So that could very well be happening on June. Again, 19th and 20th, but if you're interested in that, if you're interested in making that journey, that there's certain people in the communities of the paranormal that are incredibly, I don't know, like keystone figures in this. And Bob Gimlin is certainly one of those, and it's an opportunity to hear and possibly meet the man.
Yes.
And, if you're into Bigfoot, this is one journey that you should probably make.
Brent's bucket list number one.
It's way high on my bucket list because Bob's
the man.
He's the man, and he's an incredibly spry, but he's also he's been around. He's he's probably not going to be doing this much longer, and that's by choice. I'm saying I know he's mentioned that to some people. It's like and I don't blame him. He's been doing the circuits for a while now. But if you want to have a chance to meet a living legend and hear him speak, then this would be your opportunity to do so. So definitely check it out and look at those dates if it's possible. This would be one of those kind of what was I going to call it? Like a pilgrimage of sorts, in order to see Bob and have a chance to maybe a photo op or whatever, but that's what I'm going for. But anyway, that's the news today on the top end. Let's see. Am I forgetting anything, Don? Not really, because I guess it's time to go. What comes next, Don?
Well, that could have been in the news segment.
It could have been, but it was more of a headline announcement. So
there you go.
All right. Well, let's go to the news. Speaking of news, here comes the news. I have to do that because the sound effect that I put in, of course, doesn't go over the networks that we're also simulcasting on. So I had to throw in the. That's as close as I have as to a spooky news sound on the board here. So work with me, folks. I'm trying to make this as professional as I can. But anyway, welcome to the Paranormal Portal News Desk. Got a few quick little articles to go through tonight, and some good ones. I think there's some that are just awesome, some that are weird, and one of them that's just awful cute. Well, I think we'll start with the very interesting one. And let me get it all positioned here, folks.
Oh, dang it.
Oh,
there.
Feedback.
No, it was, it was.
Oh, that concert?
Yes.
Oh, Jesus.
I was watching Rob Halford concerts.
Well, glad you could make it. All right. So this is the first article tonight is coming from unexplained-mysteries.com. And this is airline pilot films Foo Fighter UFO over Pakistan. So the Foo Fighters is a term that goes all the way. It's not just a rock band. For those of you that aren't familiar with it, a Foo Fighter is a term that was coined in World War II, possibly World War I, later part of World War I, but definitely World War II, where these pilots were seeing these strange orbs that were, rolling around, basically doing what looked like superhuman feats of flight to these, and still are. I mean, when we talk about how UFOs fly, the amazing things that they do, turning, banking, changing direction. Well, they would kind of shadow fighter pilots in World War II. Mm-hmm. And so the code name they gave them was Foo Fighters. And actually, Wes Germer did a really good educational, it's one of the segments that he does, multimedia segments that he put out there. And he did one about the Foo Fighters. It was really interesting. I learned quite a bit at actually listening to it. But this, apparently, they're still out there, folks. The Foo Fighters are back, or they're still here. I'm not sure which, but it says a short clip of a strange orb-shaped object filmed from the cockpit of a passenger jet has recently gone viral. The unidentified object, which was snapped by a crew of a Pakistan International Airlines flight between Multan and Sahiwal, was captured on camera back in January 23rd. Well, that's just like a week ago, right?
Yeah.
The pilot, Captain Faisal Qureshi, later recalled that the object was surrounded by a metallic ring and emitted a bright light at its center. On the footage, it appears as a stationary white orb. The story was quickly picked up by local news stations in the region. It was necessary to inform the public and the media about it. Says PIA spokesman Abdullah Khan. When asked what he thought it was, however, he declined to speculate. The object has since been likened to a Foo Fighter, a category of unidentified flying object spotted by pilots during World War II. No definite explanation for the phenomenon was ever found. Some have speculated the object over Pakistan could have been a weather balloon. However, crew members who witnessed it firsthand remain adamant there was something more. You can check out the footage for yourself. Let me put a link in the TFR chat because obviously those people that are hanging out in there may want to check this out. But this is apparently footage that was just recorded on January 23rd of this year from a Pakistani Airlines pilot of what appears to be a Foo Fighter. So I'm going to just put it on play now. For those of you just clicking that link, just click it. I posted the link in tfrlive.com/chat. If you're out there listening and you're not currently on your computer, I will be showing it live to our YouTube audience where we're also simulcasting this show. So for those in YouTube, here you go. Whoa, hey, let's not have sound because that was loud. Wow. Okay, so there's the object up there in the middle of the screen. Yeah, it does look like this. What if it's a balloon?
Yeah, it's just kind of amorphous.
Mylar balloon. Next. No, I'm just kidding.
It looks like Batman.
No, that other one didn't it? In fact, I'm sure that's what they actually captured. But this one, it looks like it's actually really moving because this jet is really moving in the air. Well, look at that. That was a good shot. Yeah, they kind of really zoomed in on it, but it really gets nebulous when they zoomed in on it, didn't it?
Yeah.
It kind of had that. Yeah, you see that?
Yeah.
But it's got a real, like foggy look to it. When you look at it, when they zoom in, it really gets. Well, that just means it's out of focus, and
right.
So it's not auto-focusing real well. It's probably recorded with a cell phone, but in any regard, that's pretty interesting.
Probably an iPhone.
It doesn't look. Yeah, it doesn't look like. It doesn't look like. God, what was I just thinking?
A balloon?
No, I wasn't really thinking that. It does look like it's moving along with the plane.
Oh, okay.
So it doesn't look like it's stationary, I guess was what I was saying. I don't know the trajectory of the plane in relation to this or how it was moving, or there's no mention of any airspeed or anything like that. So there's a lot of questions from footage like this. But it's a white ball. That's,
Ooh, they nailed that.
Yeah, but that's how the Foo Fighters were also explained in the World War II pilots.
Sure.
Was they just saw these balls and these orb-like craft, and very interesting. So I don't know what you guys think. Do you think this could be an actual Foo Fighter that was captured? Maybe. But, it's up to you. We're not, our job is not to convince anybody.
Our job is to present the information to you and let you, the enlightened crowd, figure out what it is.
Thank you, Don. That's absolutely right. Yep, Don, you win the prize. No, that's absolutely true.
It's about wiener.
Wiener, chicken dinner. All right, so there's the first element of our news tonight. And let's get to some more news. Just got a couple more quick articles to go through, and then we'll start digging into the meat of the show. All right, so let's get that one off the screen. Let's get another one up. Let's see which one is which here. This one, and then we'll end on the cute one. I think we'll end the news on the cute one, Don.
Oh, excellent.
All right, so here's the next one. It's also from what? I know. All right, let's just bring this one up on the screen, and this is the peculiar history of cheese and witchcraft. I don't even know what the hell this is.
The peculiar history of cheesy witchcraft.
Cheese and witchcraft.
And witchcraft.
It's from unexplained-mysteries.com, and this is throughout the ages, cheese has been perceived to possess all manner of strange and magical properties.
Oh, my.
I know it's been blamed on a lot of problems in the digestion, but says Tabitha Stanmore, an honorary research fellow at the Modern Studies at the University of Bristol, explores what it is that made cheese such a powerful substance for those who believed in it. It only exists to believers.
You must believe the moon is cheese.
I didn't know. This is a long article, so I guess it's a good thing I don't have a lot. It says, as I was scrolling through Twitter recently, a viral tweet caught my attention. It was an image from a book of spells claiming that you may fascinate a woman by giving her a piece of cheese. God, if I'd known this when I was younger. I was just whipping cheese all over the place. The spell comes from Catherine Paulson's 1971 book, The Complete Book of Magic and Witchcraft. And while proffering a lump of cheddar may seem like an unusual way to attract the opposite or possible mate, Paulson's book draws a long history of magic. It's a history that has quite a lot of cheese in it.
Whipping that cheese out.
Yeah, that's the cheese, man. It's all in the cheese. It's not entirely clear why cheese is seen to have such magical properties. It might have to do with the fact it's made from milk, a powerful substance in itself, with the ability to give life and strength to the young. It might also be because the process by which cheese is made is a little bit magical. The 12th century mystic Hildegard of von Bingen compared cheese making to the miracle of life in the way that it forms curds or solid matter from something insubstantial. Wow. In the early modern period, roughly 1450 through 1750, the creation of the universe was also thought of by some in terms of cheese making. All was chaos. That is, earth, air, water, and fire were mixed together and out of the bulk a mass formed, just as cheese is made out of milk, and worms appeared in it, and these were the angels. Wow, is that romantic? The connection with life and the mysterious way the cheese is made, therefore, puts it in a good position to claim magical properties.
Do you have to worry about the way you cut it?
I'm leaving that all the way alone. I'm not sure, Don. I'm not a cheese authority here. Cheese magic stretches back long before Hildegard and the medieval period. The 2nd century diviner Artemidorus mentions tyromancy, cheese divination.
What is it called?
Tyromancy.
Tyromancy.
As a method of discovering the future in his treatise Oneirocritica? I don't know. Oneirocritica. Ironically, given our later association with cheese and with vivid dreams, Artemidius claims that cheese fortune-telling is among the most unreliable.
No, that's just cheesy.
This didn't stop later generations from interpreting cheese dreams, though. The interpretation of dreams in a 17th century English manual advised that to dream of cakes without cheese is good. those which have both signify deceit and treason by a Welshman. It's the Welshman. One of the most common uses for magic and cheese in the medieval, earlier modern periods was to identify thieves and murderers. Wow. Does cheese float? The method could be quite simple. First, bless the cheese with a prayer. For example, you might say, "May his mouth be cursed and full of bitterness under his tongue, pain and labor if he is guilty. He will eat in the name of the devil. If he is not guilty, he will eat in the name of Lord Jesus Christ." Then feed a small piece of it to your suspects. The culprit will be unable to swallow the piece of cheese, thus admitting their guilt. It's like a brick.
What is this, Limburger?
It's like a fist-sized chunk of cheese. Swallow. Guilty. Good morning, worm, Your Honor. Mischievous magic. Even if you're not a thief, you should be wary around cheese when there's a witch in the room. In the Odyssey, the sorceress Circe turns Odysseus.
Sandwich.
Yeah, I don't know. Circe turns Odysseus' companions into animals by feeding them a magic potion mixed into a drink made of cheese, barley meal, honey, and wine. The 4th century Christian theologian St. Augustine of Hippo agreed that such things might be possible, though unlikely. William of Malmesbury seemed convinced that enchanted cheese was a genuine risk, though, and in his 12th century writings, William explained that female Italian innkeepers were especially prone to using enchanted cheese to turn their customers into beasts of burden. Wow. Malevolent witches were also thought to meddle with milk and cheese. In fact, spoiling milk was one of the most common curses associated with witches in early modern Europe. Around 1650, the dairymaid Isabel Maine was convinced her milk was cursed, as it wouldn't turn into cheese. Only after a service magician named Margaret Stothard performed a counter curse would the milk curdle properly.
Is that a new profession?
I guess so. It's a cheddar sister.
Cheddar sister. Cheddar sister.
It's a cheddar cyst, yeah. Margaret advised Isabel to carry a stick of rowan wood when she milked the cows in the future to protect the milk from evil eyes. On a more playful side, as if this wasn't already playful enough, though still a serious annoyance to their neighbors, witches were also thought to magically steal milk directly from cows' udders. It's called squeezing, right? 14th century morality manual tells a story about a woman with an enchanted leather bag. On her command, the bag would leap up and run to her neighbor's cattle herd, where it would secretly steal milk and bring it back to her. The idea that cheese is seductive also has a long history.
My, that's some sexy cheese.
You got a nice set of cheddar.
That's a nice cheese log. It's all nutty.
I just don't know what to do. Writing in the 13th century, the moralist and theologian Odo of Cheriton used the alluring smell of grilled cheese to explain adultery.
If you eateth thy grilled with cheese, you are an adulterer.
Cheese is toasted when placed in a trap. When the rat smells it, it enters the trap, seizes the cheese, and is caught by the trap. So it is with all sin. Cheese is toasted when a woman is dressed up and adorned so that she entices and catches the foolish rats. Take a woman in adultery and the devil will catch you. Wow. And he'll eat your cheese.
He'll eat your cheese, too.
The link between cheese and love magic doesn't stop at seduction, though. In the 14th century Germany, biting a piece of bread and cheese and throwing it over your shoulder was meant to ensure fertility in a relationship. Cheese could also cure male impotence if a pesky witch had cursed a man's genitals. A medieval Italian cure was for a man's wife to bore a hole in cheese and feed him the resulting pieces. Oh, God. Given Europeans' long-standing attraction to cheese, Perhaps it's no wonder that Catherine Paulson's spell is so short.
So is that hole they drilled in the cheese?
That's what she said. And why it needed no further elaboration. Very cool article. That is a brilliant article. Who wrote this? Brilliant article.
Oh, good gosh.
That is awesome. I love it. It's beautiful, well written, and full of weird historical oddities.
I'm just surprised they didn't mention like blue cheese or.
Oh no! No, they shouldn't mention blue cheese. I don't want to hear any comparisons to that.
That's what happens when you don't get the hole drilled in the cheese.
Oh, there's the bell. We're going to have to finish our news on the other side. So we'll be right back, ladies and gentlemen. Don't go away for more of the Paranormal Portal after these messages.
Oh, my God. Oh.
Oops. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Second half hours here. We're still in the news. Sorry. I got one more article to go over with you guys before we kill the news segment completely, or the rest of the show, as it were.
I think it's already
done. The way it was already going, man. It's anybody's guess. But we kind of started out in the gutter there. But let's see what we can do to make it all cute and happy. I thought this was kind of adorable. Not really paranormal, but it's definitely not normal. So I found this one for you guys.
Wow.
This article is also from mysterious-universe.org, or .com rather. And this is rare rock. Looks just like the Cookie Monster.
Cookie.
Boom. Ah, there you go. Cool. It does look like the Cookie Monster, Don.
Yeah, it does.
That looks exactly like the Cookie Monster. Wow.
Can we name one Chris Geode?
Chris Geode.
Sorry.
No, that was pretty clever, though. I can appreciate that one. That was clever. All right, rock collector Mike Bowers has identified a rare geode-like rock that looks strangely familiar when split into two. Discovered at a well-known hotspot for finding precious stones in Solidale, Brazil, the mineral, which is known as agate, happens to be a dead ringer for the cookie-obsessed Sesame Street Muppet. It says images of the find went viral after Bowers posted posted photos of it up on Facebook. I think this is probably the most perfect Cookie Monster out there, he said. I've seen others, but but here you have it complete, both sides. Lucas Fasari is actually the one who found it. This is very unusual. There are a few famous agates out there. The owl, the scared face, and there are many approximate ones, but rare to find clear, well-defined like that. Incredibly, some interested parties have already offered sizable sums of money for the rock. Prices can be very high, said Bowers. I was proposed over $10,000 by 5 different buyers.
Wow.
They must love some Cookie Monster, right?
Oh, cookies.
As much as I'd love to show the video, I just think it's going to be like, here's his pictures, or here's him holding the cookie. And then he's going to say a lot of the same things that I just read.
You think so?
Probably. And besides, we can't play it for the TFR audience as well. So it'd be like dead air for all the listeners out there. So I will, however, post the link in TFR and in the YouTube chat if people do want to check it out. Let me just do this.
My eyes hurt.
Are you okay?
Yeah. I just have to not think of Gruyere.
Of what? Brie?
Brie.
I don't want any more Brie.
And her name was Brie.
Oh, okay, here we go. All right. There's the link in the TFR chat, and I'll put it in the YouTube chat as well. You can look at it after the show, but we're not given excused absences now during the show. Don't leave us.
I'm going to go shut off Alexa again. That was just a weird noise.
Oh, yeah, it's the Native American flute, yeah. Love the sounds, though. It's very soothing. But anyway, that's, I guess, ladies and gentlemen, that's the news. So with that, we'll return to our regularly scheduled program. I'm just cracking myself up here. Oh, all right, so y'all set, Don?
Yeah.
You ready to dig into this pig again?
What's we got next, Mr. Brent?
I'm not sure, Don, but I imagine I'll turn up something here in a second. I just got to get my windows sorted because somehow they all kind of like magically closed at once.
Oh, gosh.
It's like, poof, they're all gone. It's when I was dragging one window, and it does that sometimes, rarely, but I'm not sure exactly what I'm doing wrong, but I'm doing something wrong. Where the hell did this go? Where is that? There we go. Didn't have the Starfield cooking behind us. The portal was missing. All right, we're back on, folks. And we got some other great articles to go through with you tonight. Some great information. Here's a weird one that I found, and I don't know. I don't know how this happens. Now, I imagine with anything, any natural phenomenon, I'm sure there's an impetus or a beginning, and there's an end. And so it seems to me that maybe this is more just fine than people are kind of worked up about. By people, I mean astronomers.
Did we lose our phones?
Oh no, just that window went down too. I haven't restored that up.
Okay.
Yeah,
Just
no,
checking.
it's all here.
Oh, there it is. Okay.
Yeah. So what I'm talking about now, though, folks, is an article from mysteriesareunsolved.com, and it's missing a black hole 10 billion times more massive than the sun. Now, just in reading the headline, and I have not read the meat of the article here, but it seems to me that if a black hole starts, there's probably a point at which it ends, and then it's just done. I don't know that it would be just always this singularity.
Yeah, is it always there?
Yeah.
Do they, like, after the star explodes or whatever, and it sucks all that gravity in and
right,
becomes that gravity
matter.
Well, and then does it just peter out?
Yeah, that's my question. So let's see what it says. But it says scientists believe that a supermassive black hole lurks at the center of virtually every galaxy in the universe.
Wow.
With a mass that is millions or billions of times that of the sun, and whose immense force of gravity is responsible for holding all of the stars together. However, the heart of the Abell 2261 galaxy cluster, located about 2.7 billion light years from Earth, appears to break the theory. There, the rules of astrophysics indicate that there should be a huge monster of between 3,000 and 100 million solar masses, comparable to the weight of some of the largest known. However, as much as researchers search incessantly, there's no way to find it. The latest observations with NASA's Chandra X-ray Observatory and the Hubble Space Telescope only delve into the mystery. Using Chandra data obtained in 1999, 2004, astronomers had already searched the center of Abell for 2,261 signs of a supermassive black hole. They were hunting for material that had become overheated as it fell into the black hole and produced X-rays. But they did not detect such a source. It says, now with new and longer observations of Chandra obtained in 2018, the team led by Kayan Gultekin of the University of Michigan conducted a deeper search for the black hole at the center of the galaxy. There's also considered an alternative explanation in which the black hole was ejected after the merger of two galaxies, each with its own hole, to form the observed galaxy. When the black holes merge, they produce waves in space-time called gravitational waves. If the large number of gravitational waves generated by such an event were stronger in one direction than another, the theory predicts that the new, even more massive black hole would have been sent at full speed from the center of the galaxy in the opposite direction. This is called a receding black hole. Wow, it's so weird because they got all these rules for these things. And just not too long ago, we weren't even sure they were out there.
Exactly.
That's bizarre. Wow. Astronomers have found no definitive evidence of black hole recoil, and it is not known whether supermassives get close enough to each other to produce gravitational waves and merge. So far, they've only verified the meltdowns of much smaller objects. Finding a larger receding one would encourage scientists to search for gravitational waves from merging supermassive black holes. Wow, this almost gives me a headache to read. Scientists believe this could have occurred in the center of Abell 2261 by two indirect signs. First, data from the optical observations from Hubble and the Subaru telescope reveal a galactic core. The central region, where the number of stars in the galaxy has a maximum value, much larger than expected for a galaxy of its size. The second sign is that the densest concentration of stars in the galaxy is more than 2,000 light years from the center, surprisingly distant. During a merger, the supermassive black hole in each galaxy sinks towards the center of the newly merged galaxy. If they were held together by gravity and their orbit begins to shrink, black holes are expected to interact with surrounding stars and expel them from the center of the galaxy. This would explain the large core of Abell 2261. The off-center concentration of stars may also have been caused by a violent event such as the merger of two supermassive black holes and the subsequent recoil of a single larger black hole. Wow. This is really, it's not very much longer. I'll just finish it. Although there are indications that the black hole merger occurred, neither the Chandra nor the Hubble data showed evidence of the black hole itself. The researchers had previously used Hubble to search for a group of stars that could have been swept away by a recoiling black hole, and they studied 3 clusters near the center of the galaxy and examined whether the motions of the stars in these clusters are high enough to suggest they contain a 10 billion solar mass black hole.
Wow.
No clear evidence was found for a black hole in 2 of the groups, and the stars in the others were too faint to produce useful conclusions. They also previously studied observations from Abel 2261 with NSF's Carl G. Jansky. What's a Jansky? Carl G. Jansky. Very large array. Radio emission detected near the center of the galaxy suggested that the activity of a supermassive black hole had occurred there 50 million years ago, but it does not indicate that the center of the galaxy currently contains such a black hole. They then headed to Chandra to search for material that had overheated to produce the X-rays as it fell into the black hole, and while data revealed that the densest hot gas was not in the center of the galaxy, it was not shown either in the center of the galaxy or in any of the star clusters. The authors concluded that either there is no black hole at any of these locations or that it is attracting material too slowly to produce a detectable X-ray signal. The mystery of the location of this gigantic black hole continues. I don't know. It's more astronomical than anything. I just thought it was kind of weird that it just disappeared. I thought it was that when I checked it out, I was like, did it just disappear?
It just collapse on itself.
Well, yeah, but what they're saying is that they'd never found one in this cluster or this galaxy. So
and they expected to find a supermassive, but
right?
They found nothing.
But they found nothing. It's too bad. I'm sorry they didn't find what they were looking for. But
never find what I'm looking for. Sorry. That's a little David Coverdale for you.
Oh, there you go. We got another article here, and this is also from Mysteries Are Unsolved. This is Giants of Ancient Egypt, the Lost Legacy of the Non-Human Pharaohs. So we often wonder, how did they make those pyramids? How could they have done it? It was cheese. It was all cheese.
It's all cheese.
The power of cheese, Don. They could have done some cheese magic and whipped up a pyramid or so. But, those blocks are huge. How did they do it with brass, chisels? And how did they make that work? I don't know. How old are they? More and more questions about this. And obviously there's an official version of the history over there. And there's lots of unofficial versions of history over there. But there are stories and beliefs by many that perhaps there's aliens involved with this. So this article, I think, is talking about that possibility. The non-human pharaohs would predate the human ones, I guess. Let's see what it says. How did humans move blocks of tons of weight when building the pyramids? That and other questions have led us to question the existence of giants in ancient Egypt. History has led one to think again and again that the rulers of ancient Kemet, ancient name for Egypt, which means the Black Land, were not ordinary humans. Some say them elongated skulls. What? Some say them elongated skulls. Wow. Yeah, that's some brilliant writing there. Others describe them as quasi-spiritual beings and others as giants. And to support this theory is one of the legends that tells how the pyramids of Giza were built at the hands of a race of giants. This theory was shared during a lecture called Atlantis and the Ancient Gods by the occultist and Freemason Manly P. Hall. We're told that in the year 820 A.D., way back in the days of the glory of Baghdad, the great Sultan and the follower and descendant of the great al-Rashid of Arabian Nights, the Sultan al-Rashid al-Mamun, decided to open the Great Pyramid. He had been told that it had been built by giants who were called the Shaddai, superhuman beings, and that within the pyramid and those pyramids they had stored a great treasure beyond the knowledge of man. Although it is true that in the year 832 AD, Al-Mamun traveled to Egypt and was the first to explore the Great Pyramid in a time where it is still covered in the white limestone. However, who the Shaddai are is a mystery that continues to this present day. According to some, it could be referring to the name of the Shemsu Hor, or followers of Horus, while others say it could refer to the Shaddad bin Ad, king of Ad, who was believed to be the king of the lost Arabian city of Iram. That's an M at the end, not an N, of the pillars, and an account of which is mentioned in the Surah 89 of the Quran. He is sometimes referred to as a giant. The monumental constructs of Egypt and their relationship with the giants. The Al-Akbar al-Zaman, also known as the Book of Wonders, circa 900 to 1100 AD, is an Arabic compilation of ancient traditions in Egypt and the pre-Diluvian world. It claims that the people of Ad were giants, so Shaddad could be one of them, and it is said that he built the monuments of Dashur with the stones that had been carved in the time of his father. Before that, the giant Harjit had begun its construction. At a later date, how do you say this one? Koftarim, another giant, placed secrets in the pyramids of Dashur and other pyramids to imitate what had been done of old. He founded the city of Dendera. Dashur consists of the Red Pyramid and Bent Pyramid, constructed during the reign of Pharaoh Shefuru in 2613 through 2589 BC. On the other side, Dendera consists of highly decorated pillars dedicated to the goddess Hathor. The text also mentions that the city of Memphis was built by a group of giants who lived after the Great Flood and served King Misraim, who was also known as a giant. Even later still, it describes the work of more of these colossi. Adim was a giant with insurmountable strength and the greatest of men, and he ordered the quarrying of rocks and their transportation to build the pyramids, as had been done in former times. So what do we make of these stories? It does seem that Manly P. Hall was aware of this text and attempted to summarize it in his lecture. It is the opinion of the author that all ancient lore is worth acknowledging, as many of these traditions were relied on it to carry knowledge and wisdom through the generations.
Agreed.
I would agree as well, yep. Were the followers of Horus giants? The followers of Horus, who may have created the main mound of Giza long before the pharaohs, are believed to be giants. I said that terrible. Long before the pharaohs.
You might want to use that comma.
Oh yeah, punctuation. Long before the pharaohs, they are believed to be giants. This is believed because at the end of the 4th millennium BC, those called disciples of Horus were a powerful aristocracy that ruled Egypt. Towards the end of the 4th millennia BC, the people known as the disciples of Horus appear as a highly dominant aristocracy that governed entire Egypt. The theory of the existence of this race is supported by the discovery of the pre-dynastic tombs in the northern part of Higher Egypt, of the anatomical remains of individuals with bigger skulls and builds than the native population, with so much difference to exclude any hypothetical common racial strain. The theory about its existence is supported by the discovery of the... Really? I just read that. In fact, Professor Walter B. Emery, an Egyptologist who explored Saqqara in the 1930s, discovered the pre-dynastic remains. Emery discovered that the abnormally large remains belonged to people with blonde hair and a much more robust complexion. He said that the strain was not native to Egypt, but that it was very important in Egypt's government. He discovered that this group only mixed with other equally important aristocracies and were believed to be part of the followers of Horus. 2.5 meter tall king. Okay, that's about 8 feet, right?
2.5 meters, yeah.
Kasekemui was the last ruler of the second dynasty of Egypt, and its epicenter near Abydos. He was present in the construction of Hierakonpolis, the pre-dynastic capital. He was buried in the necropolis of el-Ka'ab. His limestone tomb was investigated in 2001, surprising experts by the quality of the construction compared to the step pyramid of Djoser of Saqqara, which was dated at the beginning of the 3rd dynasty, Casa Camui's remains were never found, so it is believed it was looted long before. Flinders Petrie, who was the first to excavate the site, found evidence from the 3rd century BC that the pharaoh almost reached 2.5 meters in height. Huh. Well, look at that. Mm-hmm. That's pretty wild. The 3rd dynasty, I want to say dynasty, was responsible for the construction of the step pyramid of Saqqara, built with other temples in the complex. Djoser, who was in charge of burying Kassel Kamui, who is suspected of being his son, ruled Saqqara during the construction of the pyramid. With this complex, it is possible to photograph a painting of a giant that clearly seemed to have an elongated skull. However, this could be a representation of skeletons that were excavated in the 1930s of individuals with large skulls and complexions. Large complexions? Oh. What time is it here? We got time. In 1895 and 1896, the world's newspapers published a strange story about a photograph of the Temple of Isis. The first time the article appeared was in the Arizona Silver Belt, November 16th, 1895, under the headline, Prehistoric Egyptian Giants. The article read the following. In 1881, when Professor Timmerman was engaged in exploring the ruins of an ancient temple of Isis on the banks of the Nile, 16 miles below Najar Jafard, he opened a row of tombs in which some prehistoric race of giants had been buried. The smallest skeleton was some 60-odd, which were examined during the time Timmerman was excavating near Najar Jafard, measured 7 feet 8 inches in length, and the largest was 11 feet 1 inch. Wow, that's a monster. Memorial tablets were discovered in great numbers, but there was no record that even hinted that they were in the memory of men of extraordinary size. It is believed that the tombs date back to the year 1043 BC. Oh, there's a giant mummified finger. Wow, look at that. I've seen this picture before. Mm-hmm. I just didn't know where it came from. I never did find out. According to the German newspaper Bild.de, Bild.de, okay, Bild.de, Gregor Spori, a millionaire who owns a Swiss nightclub, took several photos of a mummified giant finger back in the 1980s. The owner of this retired grave robber, was a retired grave robber, who lived in Bir Hooker near Sadat City, about 100 kilometers from Cairo. The finger was 35 centimeters long, so it belonged to someone who easily exceeded 4 meters in height. However, this finding was barely made public in 2012, 24 years later, and since then has not been made official. According to Spory, the finger was found 150 years ago and had been in the family of the owner, who took the trouble to x-ray the finger to confirm its authenticity. Read this article to know more about the ancient Egyptian mummified giant finger. I'm going to just click that open in another tab. Look at that, though. What the hell, Don? Mm-hmm. Wow, these are dinky people next to these huge sarcophagus.
Well, 4 meters is 12 feet.
Yeah, that's
12 plus feet.
According to some researchers, gigantic coffins are proof of giants in Egypt, though it simply could be the case that they made them bigger than required to impress others or to make it clear to the gods in the afterlife that they were of royal stock. On the other hand, there are a few accounts of gigantism in the historical record. Egypt has too. Many unusually large skeletons and mummies could be just an example of gigantism, but many have thrown questions as being without signs of any pituitary irregularity.
Yeah, gigantism is actually very, very rare. Like, extremely rare.
Yeah, I bet it is. It says, conclusion. Anyway, with these discoveries presented in this article, it simply builds the case for the existence of giants in prehistoric Egypt and around the world. And the more we explore the records of each country, the more examples we find. Yes, some have nothing to do with the mysterious lost part of our history, but some have. It may even shed light on how such large stones were quarried and lifted into place, as only giants, very advanced technology, or ingenious architects could have achieved such a gargantuan task in the long-distant past. Mm-hmm. Very true. Wow. I don't know, Don. What do you think? Do you think there were giants in ancient Egypt?
I think there were giants all around. I mean, because if you go back to the stories of Gilgamesh and you talk about, David and Goliath, and if you talk about the Philistines were believed to be people of gigantic stature as well. Mm-hmm. So there you go. I mean, and plus, we're getting Jim Vieira is very famous for hunting down all these old stories and looking at some of this old architecture from the stone builders periods. And all of these reports we have of the Smithsonian doing nefarious things with these found, bones of large size throughout the Americas in the 30s, 40s, and 50s. Yeah, I do.
Well, there you have it, folks. Maybe giants in Egypt, too. But Bam said they're all over the world, too. So you and Bam are in agreement. I don't doubt it either. But we'll be right back. Hour number 2 right around the corner. Don't go away.
True Frequency Radio.
Play their games. Everybody loves to place their bets. They don't understand the price I paid. They don't care to comprehend. Trace their lines upon my body, dripping scars across my heart. Raging anger pours inside me as their lies keep falling apart. Just make sure that you're well fed. I'm not wrong yet. I'm not broken yet. I'm not broken yet.
Carol Ann is not like those she's with. They're attracted to the one thing about her that is different from themselves. Her life force. It is very strong. It gives off its own illumination. It is a light that implies life and memory of love and home and earthly pleasures. Something they desperately desire, but can't have anymore. Right now, she's the closest thing to that.
Poltergeist are usually associated with an individual. Hauntings seem to be connected with an area. A house, usually.
Poltergeist disturbances are fairly short duration, perhaps a couple of months. Hauntings can go on for years.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Hour number 2 is now upon us, so I hope you're ready for another fun-filled hour of the Paranormal Portal with myself and Don, trying to pilot the craft as well as we can. There's no guarantees, though, folks, but before I go any further, we're really glad you guys are here with us tonight. We're having a great time, and I hope you guys, if you're new to the show, you'll get subscribed and become part of the Paranormal Portal family. We love meeting new faces, and thank you to all of you who have spread the word, and thank you to all of you who will spread the word. Feel free to share these streams on any of your social media to introduce brand new people to the shows. So thank you all so much, and thank you for being here and being a part of our journey.
Wow, that was awesome.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank
you.
Yes,
And now, folks, for something you really aren't ready for. More of the portal. More of the portal. Welcome back, everybody. Hope you had a good break. The portal has gone rock and roll. Absolutely.
Well, yeah.
We've always been rock and roll. We were rock and roll before it was cool, maybe.
Well, I was rock and roll. He was a little bit country.
No, I wasn't. I've never been anything near country.
You don't know that song?
I do.
Oh,
I'm not Donnie Marie, buddy. Oh, no.
Donnie.
You can claim the name, but I'm still not Marie. I ain't your Marie.
Let me get my purple socks ready.
You don't make enough money for me to be your Marie.
Ow, that hurt. Wow.
So anyway, folks, we are going through the Paranormal Portal as always, and we just read a good story. I like that story though about the giants.
Yeah, that was
really
a great story, and I really do think
curious.
I really do believe there were pre-Andaluvian.
Yeah.
Giants. Yeah, absolutely.
I think there still might be too, because the claims are still coming in, people.
They are.
And in fact, on one of the episodes of Sasquatch Chronicles, and it was a long time ago now, I don't think Wes actually he interviewed the guy, but I think he told the story of this old hunter who was up in the hills, and this guy's in his 70s or possibly even 80s, but he was up on the mountains where he was from, and I assume he was from somewhere in the Rocky Range, the Rocky Mountain Range, but it was definitely up in the north part of the nation in the Rocky Range, as I recall. But he's up there hunting, and suddenly he hears this commotion, and he looks over, and coming, like, he's got his back to a tree, and he's, I think he might be in a bit of a tree stand, but he's got his back to the tree, but coming through the forest, breaking through and climbing up the mountain, he saw this 15-foot, roughly, man. His hair is all long and haggard. He's 15 feet tall, marching right up the freaking mountain. And apparently, as I recall the story, and I'm paraphrasing it pretty liberally here, but the gist of it is he saw this, and he swore he'd never hunt again. He hung up his rifle and never been back in the woods since. I don't know. This is somebody that has nothing to gain,
right?
From telling a story like this. It's not asking for fame or whatever. He was just this anonymous guy with this fantastic claim. Caveman, the researcher,
right?
The Navajo researcher, a really wonderful guy. He's allegedly seen them down in the down where he's from. he saw one sitting right on a tree line as he was out on an opposite ridge. He could see it in his binoculars, just sitting there. So I think they're out there. I don't know what they're doing. I don't know where they're from. I don't know what does that mean. But, you know, the one thing that is absolute is that there are so many mentions around the world and histories,
Yes.
whether they're just legendary or whatever, but they all have the same histories. There were giants. There were these large men, these large people that didn't really get along with the rest of the world, and generally seems to be regarded as largely these brutes, and very aggressive, and possibly ate people. But there's the giants of Kandahar, the story coming out of Afghanistan of the special forces had to mow down a huge one. There's the story that Wes shared when he was a guest on the show of the Vietnam era veteran that he talked to, who was like a captain and special forces, and he was called into in a DMZ zone, or a no-go zone, it was called.
Right.
So that means nobody goes there. It was flagged no-go zone for everybody.
That might have been why.
Yeah, well, I'm pretty sure that is why. But he was sent in on a mission to help this village. Didn't really understand what they were going there for, but when they got there, pulled in, they had a tank, and they had, their vehicles and stuff. They pulled in, and there's two giants running through this village, terrorizing and tearing people apart, and just raising all hell. And it was just a horrifying story, which they then had apparently already figured out where these things were living, and they backtracked them to a cave and I guess just lit it up and took care of the problem. But I mean, what a horrifying story. So these stories are not new. They're not just a relic of the past either. They're both new and old, and they continue. Now, obviously, you can't take every claim for its face value, but if there's only a few of them that are correct, if only a few of these claims are valid, then that's still amazing. That's still incredible.
Wow.
And so that's my takeaway from it. But you all can certainly believe exactly what you want to. That's really one. And I think that's amazing. But I do believe they're out there. I agree with you, brother. I don't think that this is just... But I think a lot of things are out there, right? Like the world is really a strange place. And we've been here our whole generations. We've been here for thousands of years, and we still don't know what the hell we're dealing with.
Well, and Gnome Squatch says, these giants don't sound like Bigfoot. No, they don't. They sound totally like a separate species to me.
Yeah, they are
something totally different.
They are very clearly observed not to be hairy. They don't have any problem recognizing that they are. They do look like men, and they do look like people.
Just giant dudes.
Red hair, possibly double rows of teeth, enormous,
right?
And super strong, and very, very aggressive. Like, have no regard for the small people, which means all of us.
Oh, they do have a great regard for us.
They do?
Apparently, we're getting a cream sauce.
I guess they eat us raw right off the vine, Don.
This
is what I heard.
Grilled Don and cheese.
It's so chewy. This one fall off a roof.
Oh, no, they're definitely not big friendly giants, no.
No, they're not.
Silly movie.
They're not BFGs. I like that movie. That was cute. But I think it's, I think they're out there, folks. I don't know what it means. Again, I don't know. It kind of terrifies me, to be obvious.
Yeah.
To be honest, because if you were just walking through the forest, like say you're collecting mushrooms or something, all of a sudden you hear this rumbling, and out steps a 15-foot tall person, like carrying a tree trunk.
A tree trunk, yeah.
what are you going to do?
A walking stick,
Yeah, I mean, what are you going to do? You're going to be screwed is what you're going to do. You're going to get hurt, and you're going to get broken. And you can't outrun them. You can't do anything.
Nope.
Unless you're very well armed and very lucky. You might be able to hit them in the eyes or something and wish for the best. But anyway, that's the giants, folks. And I think those stories are absolutely amazing. I find them really interesting, but really, seriously, I find them very unnerving. Because where are they coming from? I mean, I don't think they're always up here. I think they might really be subterranean, is all I can think.
Really?
I do. I just got to believe that.
Subterranean as in just lives under the, the mountains
under the
and
cavernous,
stuff,
in the cavernous.
Or do you mean like subterranean, like hollow earth kind of thing?
I don't know how deep. I think maybe even hollow earth, but maybe there is no hollow earth, but maybe there's enough going on below the surface of the crust that they could have, a whole situation down there for themselves. I don't know. I don't know. It's really concerning. All right. Now, here's another one that I found. Same website. This site really gleaned some great results tonight. This is from mysteriesareunsolved.com again. And any of these sites that we share from, I strongly encourage you guys to check them out. Definitely go out and support these sites because these people are really working hard, putting out all this information, doing the work and bringing this information to all of us. So definitely support them and help them out because, it's just doing a show. I know what it's like. You work hard, you do the best job you can. And in a lot of ways, it's a labor of love. You just do it because you love it, but it's not like, anybody's dragging home bags of money here.
Yeah.
So definitely support these sites as much as you can. But this is having to do with Nikola Tesla. If you recall, I did a show with Farm not too long ago. Carlton, a good friend of the show for a long time, and he and I talked about Nikola Tesla and some of this free energy and energy experiments that he was working on. So this article is called Nikola Tesla's Flying Saucer. Would Nikola Tesla have designed a flying platform that worked? I don't know. I wouldn't put it past him, man. The guy was on a whole different level. Anti-gravity technology has long been speculated as a real possibility. 100 years ago, Nikola Tesla designed a flying platform in operation and also patented a flying saucer-style spacecraft. Is this actually it? Oh, it's a conceptual drawing of Tesla's flying saucer. Wow. It says, unfortunately, after his death, most of his notebooks and plans were seized by the FBI, which kept him under surveillance as a potentially subversive influence. How tragic is that, though? Yeah. That is so sad. This means that the actual details of your plans are not available to the general public. In addition, Otis T. Carr, who worked with Tesla, also stated that he had designed an anti-gravity spacecraft that it was fully operational. However, like Tesla before him, Carr found himself the target of government agencies, and there are claims that his experiments were closed by the government. Tesla was all about the future, and its futuristic flying object was at the top of the line of the interior of the disc was equipped with flat screens and external video cameras. Man, the vision this guy had, right? It may seem intriguing to know why the United States government would have kept this information from the general public. However, there is apparently a logical reason for the suppression. Anti-gravity technology could essentially lead to free movement of vehicles from cars to spacecraft. This kind of technology could seriously damage the bottom line of many of the major donors to both dominant political parties in the United States and could give the population much more freedom than the authorities are comfortable with. Freedom? Huh? That's the whole article. I guess that's pretty quick. Sure. I mean, it doesn't surprise me. There's so many instances, and we've talked about this before on the show, Don, but remember when I was talking about the guy that in the 50s, I think, he patented and developed a technology that could make a gallon of gas go well over 100 miles?
I don't remember specifically, but I know we've talked about
the gist,
a lot of these things. Yeah.
Right. The gist of it was that apparently this guy was showcasing this everywhere he could and anybody that listened. And he apparently got interest from the Shell Oil, who wanted him to demonstrate the science on it. And so he did, and they saw it and proceeded then to buy the patent and lock it away. And obviously the math is real simple, is if a car goes over 100 miles on a gallon of gas, people aren't buying as much gas.
That's right.
So Shell Oil Company, in their divine wisdom, to capitalize on their own greed and selfishness, decided to consume that patent and just freeze it so that nobody could ever use the benefits of that efficiency. And so, I mean, if there's other examples of the same kind of thing. Certain people just wind up not living anymore if they develop things that are deemed as a threat and they can't shut it down through either monetary or other means. They will, they'll just make sure that you're having a bad day. And I don't know. I of course, that's the speculation. I don't pretend to be smart enough to know whether all of this is true or not. But I do know that human greed is a powerful thing. It's a really, really powerful, ugly thing. And it's brilliant for those people that are on the receiving end of that greed and can glean the benefits for it. But for the rest of us,
We're just screwed.
yeah, it's just a big slap in the face. It's like, nope, you're not in the club. That's George Carlin said.
Yes.
They got a club and you're not in it.
You're not part of their club. No, sir.
Yeah.
You're part of you're the other end of the club.
Right. Yeah, we get the fat end and they get the handle. Kerschmeck. You know, club shape. Got it?
Yes,
Did you
yes.
get it? Okay.
I got it.
All right, I thought I'd break it down for you. Sorry. I thought it was funny in my head. That's what goes on in here, folks. It's never pretty. But I think that's really exciting possibility, and I believe that, you know, according to Stephen Greer, in a clip that I saw for the advertisement for his, you know, for the Gaia stuff, he said anti-gravity's been mastered since the 50s. So according to Stephen Greer, the technology's already been well developed and well tested and is well implemented in specific applications. But, you know, it's not for you and I, apparently. And it's such a heartbreaker, you know, because how much easier would life be if, like, even for people that have to deal with heavy things, you just put it on a platform that would float it and you could push it with your fingers. You know, it'd have no drag whatsoever. And you could save people from, like, you know, physical damage and, you know, so many ways it would help us. And it would enable us to do so much more, develop maybe floating cities and stuff. You know, I mean, my God. Right?
Yeah, that'd be cool.
It's like all of this stuff could be, if it is indeed real, and it's up to you to decide what you believe or don't believe. But, you know, it doesn't seem that far-fetched to me, but I don't know. It's just frustrating, I guess. I guess what I'm trying to say, folks, is I'm frustrated because I think we have the knowledge to do so much more and to do so much better for ourselves,
Right.
and for our worldwide community. And yet it's still being choked at this point of greed where all of this possibility is all around us, but, you know, we'll never see it. This next article is one I've talked about on another show. We've talked about a little bit about it, but this one actually includes a photograph. So before I read it, I'm actually going to copy it and put it in the TFR chat. Those of you on YouTube will see it in real time. Just hope for a moment. I'm just looking. Tesla's propulsion would have been electromagnetism. Yeah, for sure, Bam. I agree. Greedy people are called evil. Floating cities wouldn't be good now unless domed with the chemtrails.
Yeah, well, okay. Point, yes.
Point
Touché.
taken, sir. Yep, that's right. We'd have to have domes on them. But I guess there's also some scuttlebutt about apparently Bill Gates wants to put debris up there to block some of the UV light and stuff.
Yeah.
It's like, oh my God.
Yeah, the reflective. He wants to dust everything with reflective to reflect the light back into.
Isn't that what the aluminum, barium, and all that other stuff that people say is in chemtrails is already happening?
Well, it does have. It does. Yeah.
That's so troubling. It's like this system obviously works just the way it is. It doesn't need people help. Oh, God. Leave it to people to really screw something up. All right, so here's the article, folks. This is coming from Mysteries Are Unsolved again. Guess where? Mysteries Are Unsolved. And this is a giant Congo snake. I must be hungry. The giant Congo snake. Now, we've talked about these possibly giant spiders the size of dogs running around in South America. Even apparently in the U.S., it's been reported in some cities. Some exotic locations, tourists have seen, like Yorkie-sized spider bodies with long legs coming out of them, and of course there's those fakes that are on YouTube and stuff of people putting those costumes on their dogs and then letting them run down tunnels and stuff at night. People are just freaking. yeah, exactly. That's how they go. Run. Durr, 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 durr. Yeah, but now there are actual claims of people seeing these huge things and giant snakes. Of course, the anacondas get up to about 30 some feet. But here's one that was reported, and if this is the one I'm thinking, let me read the article before I start talking too much. But it says, in 1959, Remy van Leerd served as colonel in the Belgian Air Force at the Kamina Air Base in Belgian-occupied Congo, in the Katanga region of the Democratic Republic of the Congo, returning from a mission by helicopter. He reported having seen an enormous snake as he flew over the forests. And there's the picture, folks, and we'll get into the details more soon, but this is allegedly the actual picture he took. It was taken in 1959 by Belgian helicopter pilot Colonel Remy van Leerd while on patrol over the Congo. The snake he saw measured approximately 50 feet in length, dark brown/green, with a white belly. It has a triangle-shaped jaw and a head about 3 feet by 2 feet in size. The photo was later analyzed and verified to be genuine.
Wow.
Van Leerd described the snake as being close to 50 feet in length with a 2 feet wide, 3 foot long triangular head, which, in his estimations, were accurate. Would earn the creature a place amongst the largest snakes to have ever existed. Colonel Van Leerd described the snake as having a dark green and brown top scales and a whitish colored underside. Upon sighting the reptile, he had the pilot turn around and make another pass, at which the serpent reared up the frontal 10 feet of its body as if to strike, giving him the opportunity to observe its white underbelly. However, after flying so low that Van Leerd believed it to have been within striking distance of his helicopter, he ordered the pilot to resume his journey, and so the creature was never properly documented, although some reports suggest that an onboard photographer managed to snap the shot of it. And there's the full-sized image, and what it actually could be. The strange creature is believed to be either a massively oversized African rock python, which are a very aggressive snake. I've known people that have had those as pets, and they strike a lot. I used to have boa constrictors and other snakes. A new species of snake entirely, or perhaps a descendant of the giant Eocene snake Gigantophis. Gigantophis? Okay. It says about Remy Van Leerd. Van Leerd was born on August 14th, 1915, in Overbeer, Belgium. He began his career in the Belgian Air Force on September 16th, 1935, as a fighter pilot who served during World War II in the Belgian and British Air Forces, shooting down 6 enemy aircraft and 44 V-1 flying bombs, and achieving the RAF rank of squadron leader. Van Leerd was made Deputy Chief of Staff to the Minister of Defense in 1954. In 1958, he became one of the first Belgians to break the sound barrier while test flying a Hawker Hunter at Dunsfold Aerodrome in England. He returned to the Belgian Air Force after the war and went on to hold several important commands before retiring. In 1968, he died on June 8th of 1990. So this is not just some, flaky, I think this is what I saw.
Yeah, this is a made man.
Yeah, this is a guy that's his career, military, he's impeccable career, distinguished service. And this is what he did. This is what he saw. What a horrifying thing that would be.
That would be definitely creepy.
You just imagine how it looks like it must be a constrictor, right? So I imagine if you get anywhere near that snake, you're just going to be meat. That's just terrifying. 50 feet is a long snake. So I don't know how round would that be though, How round? It'd be like a tree trunk, right? It'd be like a tree trunk.
Yeah, it'd be big.
It'd be big, folks.
It's a sequoia.
A sequoia. I don't know if it's that big, but it's a big one. It's a big one. What do we got here? 2 minutes until the break? Okay. Well, we're going to get into a lot more, of course, after the next break. Well, as much as we can get in for the remainder of the show, but I want to get into some UFO reports coming up next that you will not believe, or that'll make you believe, it says. So we're going to get into some alien UFO reports that'll make you believe.
Wow.
So if you're on the fence about this, just stick around, because after the next segment, you should be a believer. And then I'll be on the same boat here.
And if you're not, we just want you to believe that we are the best show on YouTube.
And we want to believe that you will help us spread the word. And check out the Teespring site. And remember that after the show on TFR, iHeart, TuneIn, and TalkStream Live is Paisley Wild coming up after us. And she's got the spaces between. And she'll be getting into all of her magical worlds and workings and help to educate the masses on the on the esoteric, the pagan, the otherworldly, and ancient wisdoms, as it were. So hopefully you'll tune into that coming up next. If you want to check out her live stream, she does live stream on YouTube as well, and that's at youtube.com/thespacesbetween. So lots of
with no spaces between.
Yeah, there's actually no spaces. That's kind of false advertising, Don.
Hey, you know,
I think
you got to get in where you fit in.
That's what I hear. That's what I hear, folks. But we're going to go to our last break, so just stick around. We are broadcasting on not only on YouTube for those of you watching there, but we're also broadcasting on TFR, iHeart, TuneIn, and TalkStream Live. So we got to take these breaks every half hour. Just so you know, we're not lazy. We're just scheduled. So we'll be right back in just a couple minutes for the remainder of the last half hour of our journey tonight. So don't go away. We'll be right back. Welcome back, folks. No, that's not the laugh track. That's actually Don.
That mask wasn't a real head.
That mask wasn't a real head. No, it wasn't.
Thank you, Ruthie.
But it was a gift from Ruthie, who's in the chat room. That's the
that's
mask
awesome.
right above my head, right there. And she's from Indonesia.
Yeah.
And
From a shrunken head tribe.
Jesus, Don, you're not allowed. Don's not allowed near history anymore. He brutalizes the hell out of it. I don't know. But it was a very sweet gift. Thank you, Ruthie.
Oh, it's
she's
awesome.
She's
Yeah.
comfortable. She likes hanging out, watching over me. But welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. 1/2 hour to go, or 20-some minutes, 25 minutes, I guess, to go to with the show. And then it'll be Paisley's turn to entertain those of you who choose to stick around and listen to her. But we've got more. We're going to get into some UFO stuff now, Don. What do you think of that?
UFOs?
Did you have something you wanted to read? Because
Well,
I know you dug up some stuff before the
yeah,
show.
well, I wanted to read about that plane, but you won't let me read it.
Well, yeah, it's just, considering the source.
But there's that haunted house in New York.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, do tell.
There's a house in Hudson Valley that's so terrifying it was legally declared haunted by the New York State.
Ooh, legally.
By now, you know about plenty of amazing haunted houses in New York that will truly put your bravery to the test. But there's a house that sits right on the Hudson River in a small village of Nyack that actually has legal proof it is haunted. Yes, you read that right. Thanks to the Ghostbusters ruling, this home has been declared legally haunted by the state. You won't believe the story behind the haunted house in New York.
I'm just laughing at Titan. He sent us a super chat. Brendan Don, this would be a good start on your tyromancy kit. Much love and y'all.
That'll buy it. That's
Thank
a
you,
lot
brother.
of cheese.
Look at him whipping out the cheddar. And it's even orange.
Yeah, it's
It's even orange on the
apropos.
screen.
That's extra sharp.
Yeah, he went to sharp and mild. He's got both of them represented. Anyway, sorry, continue.
Not far from other many areas in the Hudson Valley region that are known for being haunted, the story behind this house is one that'll make you curious. The house itself was built sometime around 1900 and was used throughout the years as both a boarding house and a family residence. In the early 1960s, a woman by the name of Helen Ackley moved into the house with her family, not realizing what terrible trouble was awaiting them inside the home.
Yikes.
Once the Ackley family moved into the home on the dead-end street in Nyack, a series of chilling events began to take place. Helen began telling neighbors that unusual events were occurring in the house, many of whom never believed her accusations. It wasn't until years later when a young and perfectly healthy house guest came over to Ackley's home for dinner that people in the area began to question what was really going on in the house. The guest came over to the house, collapsed to the floor, and died immediately from a brain aneurysm.
Yikes. Wow.
The most common thing to happen in the house, the supposed spirits that haunt the residents had a habit of waking everybody up in the morning by violently shaking their beds. While it may sound like the most unpleasant way to be awoken from your slumber, the family eventually learned to live with spirits haunting their home. Wow, it's not the way I want my bed shook. One night, Helen reportedly announced before everyone went to bed that there was no school in the following morning, asking the spirits not to wake everybody up. The following morning, the Ackley family woke up on their own for a change, only convincing them even further that the house is truly haunted.
Wow.
Titled Our Haunted House on the Hudson, Helen's article to Reader's Digest claimed that while she was painting in the living room, a spirit stayed in the room with her. Helen said that the spirit was a man who was rocking back and forth in midair, approving of the changes that her and the Ackley family were making to the home. According to the family, they believed that there were 2 or 3 other spirits that shared the home with them. The spirits were said to be from the era of the American Revolution, leaving random gifts for children randomly throughout the house. Random. Slamming doors and making their presence known through the sounds of their footsteps. After finding a buyer to purchase the haunted home, the Ackley family soon found themselves in hot water. Not from the nearby area, a couple put down a down payment on the home in hopes of purchasing it. After the deposit was made, The Stambovskys saw that the home was included on a list for one of the local ghost tours, causing them to no longer want to buy the home. Known formally as Stambovsky versus Ackley, the unusual court case is now commonly referred to as the Ghostbusters ruling.
Huh.
The Stambovskys argued that it was their right to back out of the offer for the house, never being made aware of the chilling story that surrounded it. In the first case held, the judge ruled that the Ackley family was not at fault for not making the home's haunted history known to the buyers. The Stambovskys ended up appealing the first ruling, going on to win the second trial. During the second trial, the judge even went as far to quote the Ghostbusters movie, asking, "Who are you going to call when you discover that your house is filled with paranormal activity?" It doesn't quite get any more strange than this. Today, the Ghostbusters ruling is a case that is frequently taught in law classes and brought up during other court cases because of how bizarre the entire situation was. Never before in the history of New York State has our state declared a house to be haunted.
Wow.
There you go. So the
There you go.
Ghostbusters ruling.
Now, you know what I find interesting, though?
What's that?
Is that apparently in terms of real estate,
Yeah.
that haunted homes are actually pulling more now.
They're commanding a price.
They're
now.
commanding a higher price than normal houses.
Right.
And I don't know what people are thinking. It's like, are you serious?
Yeah. No
How
doubt.
do you know what you're dealing with? And how do you know that one person's peaceful haunting is going to be a peaceful haunting for you?
Yeah.
I mean, they may
They
hate
may not
you.
like you.
Because, I mean,
I don't like your shoes.
yeah, I don't like the way that you smell.
How come you took the shoes out from between the walls?
Right. Yeah, those were there for a purpose.
They're to keep the witches out.
Right.
The sandwiches of cheese.
But the curiosity is that people seem to be attracted towards haunting
Yes.
now, which I think is very disturbing because, yeah, I mean, for the most part,
We call that the Zach Baggins effect.
yeah. Well, then you got to dress like Bono and talk like William Shatner.
Do you like my guns?
Today, we're going to investigate the most crazy place. No, I mean, he kind of went through a phase there for a while. I was like, oh no, he went all rock star with it. And he's kind of mellowed out now again, which is good. But, I think you just don't know how spirits are going to react to any one person. Like they may love a family and then the next family for whatever reason. And it's kind of like just any of us.
Right.
Haven't you ever met people? Everybody, I think, has met somebody who's like, I don't know. I don't like that guy. I don't know why. I don't like him.
Right.
Or I don't like those people. They bug me. There's something about them. Well, that's very much the same thing with spirits. They're still the same as they were alive. They
Right.
just don't have skin.
Yeah, they still have opinions.
Yeah, they got all their opinions and all that other stuff. So, Brent and Don, I guess the realtor has to disclose it in haunted. Not in every state,
No,
though.
yeah, not in every state,
Many states have disclosure laws, but there are several still that don't. So, and that can mean a lot of things. They don't have to tell you in some states, but you might want to check into it all the same.
Yeah, you might want to. Is this house haunted by any chance? Well, yes. I'll pay $10,000 more.
Does this have lead paint and asbestos, and is it haunted?
If it's got paint and asbestos, the answer is no, we don't want it. If it's haunted without paint and asbestos, we're in.
Yeah, we're golden, right?
Yeah.
That is very wild, though. Yep.
It's ridiculous.
That is ridiculous. So let's get into some UFO stuff.
UFOs.
Time for some UFOs, ladies and gentlemen, here on the Paranormal Portal. And this is an article I found on sci-fi.com. Of all places, indeed, sci-fi. This is, apparently it was on World UFO Day, which I don't know which day that is.
Oh,
July 2nd, apparently.
I have to read this real quick. Android Purity in chat says, I'm a realtor in Maryland. It's not a material fact, so it does not have to be disclosed.
Uh-huh.
There you go.
Yeah. Very wild. But thank you for that supplemental information. That's really cool.
Yes.
Okay, so this is 9 alien encounters that'll make you believe. Took me a long time to get through that N. Alien encounters. Sorry. Alien encounters, the type that involve UFOs, blinding lights, extraterrestrial hands probing you.
Wow. That's why those fingers are so long.
Yeah. Good.
It's
Cold.
a biological probe.
Cold. Oh, Don. You and your biological probes. Often defy all scientific and logical explanation, and are often the same kind of hoaxes bearing huge fangs on the cover of the Sun, until they're not. It says, while infinites foe encounters have been crawling all over media even before War of the Worlds was taken way more seriously than the dramatization it was supposed to be, actual aliens do lurk among the sensational clickbait of the internet, except those accounts expose the real terrors that some Earthlings went through when they saw something they shouldn't have, or ended up somewhere they shouldn't have, or ended up with a passenger that they shouldn't have been riding shotgun in their car. However bizarre it might seem to encounter an extraterrestrial light show thousands of feet in the air, or just vanish and show up in your backyard months after thinking it was only a couple of hours, presumably because you were on board something that traveled into the far reaches of space at the speed of light. These experiences that may not be as famous as Roswell and other Area 51s are even more chilling on account of them haunting the memories of people who never worked for the FBI, CIA, or even SETI. You might expect a bizarre flash of something when you've been searching for it since the Clintons era, but not so when you're just trying to drive home after dark without your engine breaking down. Probe these 9 alien encounters that are almost, operative word here, beyond belief. And even non-believers will find it impossible to stay in the cynic bubble. So, those aren't Christmas lights is the first one. An amateur astronomer observes something. Let me blow this up a little bit. It's really working my eyeballs to try to read this.
Oh, there it is right there.
Oh, okay. Is that it?
Yeah, that's
it. Oh, okay.
Ooh.
Yeah, it is. There you go. Thank you. An amateur astronomer observed something beyond imagination after eyeing a bizarre white flash that was definitely not of this planet. Heat lightning would have been the assumption, but the night was clear and cloudless with no forecasted storms. Whatever it was briefly lit up the entire night sky with an otherworldly blaze. It tinged the surrounding air with somehow felt heavier with a mysterious metallic taste. And then an unexpected flash of red exploded in the darkness, and when it seemed things couldn't get much weirder, the light show began. Alternating white and red flashes appeared, and someone out there must have been having fun twisting human brains because a third flash soon joined the production. It was almost as if they were being beamed into the sky as some sort of mysterious communication mode.
Blue beam.
Blue beam? Oh, yeah, maybe. Then came the noise that silenced everything. Frogs stopped croaking. Crickets ceased in their chirping, and the night went deadly silent. As the sinister whirring, until every dog in the neighborhood started barking like it was the apocalypse. This whirring kept rising in volume as the flashes ascended. The alien fireworks have never been explained, but the astronomer and a legion of canine witnesses remain forever spooked. That's weird. I wonder what the metallic taste is. That an ionization?
Well, I would think so because electrical fires and things like that, you get kind of a
right.
I do at least, if there's been an electrical fire, something,
in Dine's wirings. You come in looking like Georgie Tsoukalos.
It was just terrible.
Yeah, it was terrible. But it must be an ionization though, right? So
yes, yeah.
Something was going on as it ascended that wherever this was suddenly just going up. The perfect storm for abduction, in parentheses. Storms sometimes bring other things down to earth besides rain. Thunder and lightning probably aren't how you'd want to spend your birthday, but Jason Andrews of Kent, England, got much more than cake when he turned 4 in July 1987. He began muttering complex mathematical equations as the sky exploded with lightning. Even Einstein probably hadn't been able to understand math of this level at that age, but Jason kept spewing numbers as if he were on the brink of developing an unprecedented theorem. Then the windows began to tremble when Jason turned to his parents in a trance-like state and said, "They're waiting for me.
Oh, God.
I have to go." His father struggled to pull him back from the doorway, but as he did so, it was as if someone took a tranquilizer to the storm. The windows stopped rattling, the trance broke. Jason was being drawn towards something, an alien starship, a makeshift lab for probing human specimens. Come on, this is a kid. And probably would have followed the invisible force that had him in its claws if it weren't for his altered state already being shattered. Years later, Jason revealed that he had been getting nightly visits from something definitely not human. The controversial theory behind his experience is that he has some sort of remote viewing capabilities that attracted aliens to him. Whether or not science thinks this phenomena is real, there's at least one person on this planet who certainly does.
You know, it brought up, following them, out. And the judge was talking about his daughter in the Wind story.
Right.
And was like, that's what
true.
popped into my head. I'm like, don't follow them.
Yeah, don't ever follow. If a voice tells you need to go outside, don't listen.
Don't do it.
Nobody knows, but it's green. Some of the monsters aren't even under your bed, but outside your window. The monsters became real in 2009 for one anonymous witness who's only wanted to relax with headphones on when an unearthly sound cut through the edgy guitars and haunting vocals of Tool. It was the type of high-pitched electronic sound that assaults your ears, except this wasn't caused by a scratch on the CD. Whatever the source of the noise, which kept getting louder, was bathed the entire room in ectoplasmic green glow. Now, this is the part when the sinking feeling that warns you not to look out the window, but you do it anyway because you feel a presence. The presence was an enormous airborne vessel, a triangular metal thing that doesn't typically take off from any human airport. It was pulsing with orbs of that same eerie green radiation. As if the fear factor wasn't enough, the thing then shook the house violently before floating off into the dark unknown. At least it didn't end up hurtling through the sky and crashing towards the land of Oz. Isn't that Australia? Land of Oz?
The land of...
This event occurred in the northeast Ohio, known to be a hotbed of paranormal activity.
Yes.
Yeah, everything's in Ohio. Why everything freaky comes out to play when there is still beyond science. Yeah, I don't know what it is about Ohio, but that's absolutely true. Like, we get so many more ghost stories from Ohio. There's
Squatch stories.
Cryptid stories from Ohio. There's
Everything.
UFO. Then there's other creatures.
Some Mothmans from there, too.
Yeah, yep. Roadside attractions is number 4. The obstacle that Wisconsin resident William Bosak encountered on the road in 1974 when driving home after dark was no pothole. Foggy nights can be deceptive, especially when it comes to separating those murky tendrils from something supernatural. But what Bosak saw as he slowed down towards a strange roadside object defies explanation. While the brightness of his headlights seemed to vaporize the bottom half of whatever it was, that which he was able to see would have sent anybody into the middle of the road screaming. Staring through an enormous glass dome was Chewbacca in spandex. Or at least it would have been made a killer backup for Chewie, this hairy humanoid in a skin-tight bodysuit and ears protruding from the top of its head and terrified eyes that bulged from a face that could have been a mashup of human and bovine DNA. It looked as if it had thrown its arms above his head in surrender. Just one eyeful of this 10-foot monster was enough to make Bosak frantically step on the accelerator, but to his horror, the lights inside his car went dark and a suspicious noise suggested the engine was missing. That the former UFO skeptic now believes is an understatement. Morphing on the fly, number 5. I gotta move this over. Keep an eye. We got 6 minutes. Wow. In 1989, an airline pilot taking off from Kansas City International Airport flew into something unexpected when he encountered an alien white disc among the clouds. Almost an illusion at first, the disc appeared dim to pilot Andrew Danziger until the plane began to descend. Hovering above the clouds where the disc had been, an immense red orb, not unlike a blood moon or a blazing sunset, sent the pilot and his co-pilot into a psychological tailspin. They somehow managed not to spook the passengers, and it also started playing a deranged game at 13,000 feet. As the aircraft lost altitude, so did the orb. There was a moment of relief when it seemed to vanish into a cloud, only to remanifest within the clouds as hundreds of flashing lights that would rival anyone's electric holiday display. Even more mind-blowing, the cloud this thing had descended into was now pulling itself apart like galactic goo. The second it succeeded in tearing itself apart, everything that had been materialized for the last 40 minutes disappeared. Danziger filed a UFO report stat after landing. Even creepier is that he was just one of many to report the phenomena involving this unidentified flying whatever. Nothing was ever identified by air traffic controllers. Garden gnomes from outer space.
Nice.
Here we go.
Nice.
The peculiar figures that appeared at one Wisconsin couple's door one night were mistaken for trick-or-treaters who had forgotten Halloween was over until they floated. Whoever or whatever rang the doorbell was wrinkled life form that looked like a cross between a scarecrow and a garden gnome. That could have been a horror movie extra. Obscuring its face was a floppy hat from which stray tufts of hair stuck out, and its chin was unnaturally sharp. It was either nonverbal or refused to speak, but what must have been its mouth was a puckered, toothless void. Ah, that's creepy. The creature was also clutching a strange white staff that the couple soon realized wasn't made of anything earthly. When the creature reacted to human hands reaching out to touch it and make sure it wasn't a teenage prank, when it raised the staff, it struck the sidewalk. It floated backwards. Its 4 companions were standing silently in the grass and on the asphalt like lawn ornaments. They were all clutching their staffs, thought to be energy rods powered by an unknown force, levitating several inches above the ground. By morning, they disappeared as mysteriously as they had arrived.
So they were there all night?
I guess. Whatever these things were, they were anything but costumed humans. Glow-in-the-dark hitchhikers is next. Orbs of unexplained origin seem to be a common thread in UFO sightings, but this one just takes that otherworldly glow to a whole new level. When the security officer was driving home on South Dakota Highway in 2011, hundreds of mysterious red lights started to appear and circle the moving car like some sort of alien halo. Though the driver thought he was still driving 60, the car was decelerating with absolutely no explanation. Then the lights vanished and the car sped up. Just as unexplained as the vanishing light halo was what appeared in its absence. The officer noticed something strange, beyond strange. At the side of the road, one thing was on the car. It was glowing, translucent life form with gangly arms that stretched right through the roof into the officer's vehicle. Spindly fingers ran down his back and left a burning sensation. But there's more where that came from. By the curb was another glowing creature that could only be described as the evil version of Hoggle from the Labyrinth.
Thank you, Hogwarts.
Yeah. The translucent thing made itself a passenger until it sensed more humans. Then it vanished but the horror never did.
Wow.
Number 8. We're down to 2 minutes. I think I can do this. When Lee Parrish was driving home in the dark back in 1977, the road was surprisingly well lit, but not by streetlights. What Parrish remembered under hypnosis later on was that a huge rectangular UFO floating above his Jeep was lighting the way. Of course, it just wasn't there to function as a superpowered flashlight. His car then came to a sudden stop directly beneath this strange spacecraft. While alien forces messing with his auto innards isn't exactly unknown, what supposedly happened next was almost unbelievable. The hypnotized Parrish recalled that his car was somehow being levitated by the UFO, then he found himself standing inside it. The spacecraft's inner chamber was a circular with white walls that emitted an otherworldly glow. If everything apparently has to glow in alien spaceships. He was surrounded by 3 blocky beings, which also glowed from within. The black entity was the nightmare version of a 20-foot tall suitcase, while the red one was like a walking one-armed Coke machine. The white one, the obvious leader, was 2-armed and square-headed.
We read this story.
I know, I remember this.
A long time ago.
The creatures examined Parrish with an unnerving, freezing touch that sung whenever their limbs and half-limbs went exploring. Then, with no explanation, they merged into each other and just vanished. Parrish might have gotten away, but the unfortunate Jeep's electrical systems soon failed. Huh. Yeah, I think that's about all I have time for tonight.
Yeah.
I think we're at the end of the line, folks.
Yeah.
That's how it rolls here on the portal. We do our best to give you all the entertainment we can pack into 2 hours, but it looks like the seams are bulging. The seams are bulging on all the entertainment we can pack into this one episode. And, we can't get any more into it, Don.
Nope, we're just about done.
That's where I was going. Brent, could my pick be some form of alien, dogman, or Bigfoot? The creeper. I don't know. It says T. Your pick. I don't know what your pick is, creeper. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you guys enjoyed the journey tonight. Hope you're having a great night, and thank you so much for being here with us. Please recommend the show to lots of other people. Let them know.
Oh my gosh, there's the music.
There's the music. Don.
Teespring.
Teespring.com for the portal gear. We love you all. Be good, be kind, be nice. Take care of each other. Help each other out. Find the magic of every day. And remember to laugh as much as you can. Love you guys. Love you very much. Good night.
Good night.
Truth Frequency Radio.